and this is maybe a rhetorical question. I've got a house insurance out and a car insurance. Yeah. You got a ring camera somewhere at the house or any other camera? Okay, stick up in there, okay? I'll come back to that. So my name is Clinton Walker, and as Martin said, I've worked for a lot of the FTSE 100 companies here, 250, some international ones as well. Just over 20, coming to 21 years in cybersecurity from the ground up, and I've seen it all, but AI kind of took that recently, but I'll talk about that shortly. So with this 10 minutes, I want to cover off about 5 or 6 key areas as a startup and as a scaling business that you should be paying attention to. And I've intentionally left out AI security, but we'll talk about that in the panel discussion. So, if I were to ask one of you guys in the room, what do you think cybersecurity is or what information security is, could anyone kind of shout out maybe 2 words or phrase? Yeah.
Defense of all digital assets within a company environment.
Cyber, yeah. Anyone else?
Security of data.
Yeah. Yeah. Before cybersecurity, there was information security, right? So it covers everything. So we live in a world where it's all cyber in the space, it's all tech enabled, etc. So this is my brief layman terms. And when people talk about cybersecurity, they always talk about these 3 things here. CIA, it's around the confidentiality of data, who's got access to it. Integrity of it. Integrity of it is around, can you distort the data? So if you have a spreadsheet and someone deletes a column, that looks at the integrity of it, so you're messing up the integrity of the data. Availability is available to the users and the people who need it when they need it. And that's the 3 pillars. They've added another one, which is authorization. Over the years, people drop it off and add it in as and when they see fit. So that's cybersecurity and information security. So here are some stats for you in terms of cybersecurity and where it's at. 43% of breaches happen to companies with less than 100 employees. And for me, I'm going to jump across this slide. You can read some of that yourself. But if you look at this in red here, and when I started out, when I talk to people about cybersecurity or information security, it's not for me. I'm just a small one-man band, but you're actually consulting for Experian, Aon, Gatwick Airport. So you're the weakest link. Yeah. So cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility, and you're not too small. Because imagine a burglar going down the street or knocking on every door, pushing every door. It's that one that opens that's going to get hit, right? So, and that's what I'm talking about here in terms of IP address. They're scanning the internet, and I've got a tool in one of the products that I've created whereby we scan the dark web, we scan the internet, we scan the URL, the website, and we look at all the potential vulnerabilities that are linked to that URL for your website and inform you about that proactively before the bad guys find those issues as well. So that's one of the things that we do as well as a company. Now, 80% of SME breach equals customer data stolen. If it's not customer data, it's personal data. So again, it's important to classify your data. So I'm not sure how many people in here work with companies where they have classification of internal only, for your eyes only. When I used to work with the government, it's for your eyes only. So it's that close circle of people, and it's UK national only. So when you work with government, there are loads of different classification, and you probably understand that more than most. But in the age of AI, I think classification is a huge thing because people can easily upload a document somewhere or in a drive, on a portal, on an app that they download. And why that is important, because everybody is using AI. Even people who are not talking about it, they're using AI and they're actually exfiltrating data out of your company without realizing that they're committing a breach. In the companies I've worked with and I've helped, we've got the classification locked down to the very context of what the information is about and to the very level whereby if you click on it and you're in HR and that document relates to finance, it pops up and blocks you or it flags it to IT or the security team. That's the granularity of classification that we're talking about here. And I think until companies starting to do that in a more granular way and make the right information available to the right people at the right time, we're still going to have a lot of what we call data exfiltration or data leaving the company. and all in the name of AI, productivity, and making my job easier. And nothing's wrong with AI. I'm all for AI, but using it in a way that is secure, because if that company were to be breached as a result of you uploading a document, that could wipe out the whole company completely and you're out of a job. So, your team is your number one target, and again, 95% of breach starts with phishing. And how many of you are aware of phishing? And we've got this thing called BEC, Business Email Compromise, which is the term, and then the other one is more kind of an individual, so it's not business email, but it's a personal email. But basically, this is one of the number one entry into a company's infrastructure, phishing. And then you have, I'll touch on something that's not there, but you have phishing, you have vishing, voice call that you get over the phone telling you something, and then you have kishing, which is now the QR code. I was laughing at your QR code. Where people overlay a malicious QR code over another legitimate one for you to scan. That locks your device, scan the background, download data, and then you have the other one, phishing, vishing, kishing, smishing, hexing, smishing. Yes. So there's all this family of phishings that you need to be aware of. And you probably get them in text message that the delivery is delayed. Can you tell me which address to drop it off at? Both in email, both in text. So be mindful of all of these things that are so convincing now, which is powered by AI, which you can't tell the difference. Back in the days, you could tell the difference with the spelling of a word, the sentence structure. Nowadays with AI, you have to look and look again and look again, right? So just be careful of those communications. So the other aspect is your supply chain and your SaaS tools, which also AI falls under that as well. Whereby in companies where I work, we talk about unapproved software. So your companies will have a list of approved software, your Teams, your SharePoint, your ERP system, your Salesforce, and others. People just download stuff. Those were back in the days when people didn't have much control, and IT didn't lock down the tools that employees can actually download. But nowadays, it still happens. But be mindful of the free software that you download. Read the terms and conditions, please. Please read the terms and conditions. People still don't read that. I tried to download it, well, I didn't download it. I tried to watch a program on TV a couple weeks ago, and it said I need to select Disney. And when I look at the terms and conditions, it was going to share my details 1,300 other partners. 1,300. So I know people don't read it, they just click because I need to get it now. But please read it. If that is if you deem your personal information important as well. So everybody, each to their own, right? But please be careful of these free software. And there are a lot of free software out there that actually collect a lot of data from people, whereby it's the thing, it's on trend. And because everybody is talking about it, people can actually rename and white label some of those and steal the data as well. I'm going to click through quickly. Backup, again, never before, backup is more important. And again, we asked about insurance earlier. It's only when your car tire is punctured or your car is in an accident, you really see the value of insurance. Cybersecurity is always seen as a cost center, but if you get a breach, having a cybersecurity insurance or having good cybersecurity in place, that's where you see the value of having it and paying for it, similar to insurance as well. 1 minute to go. Key takeaway actions. Get help from somebody, maybe this guy here or somebody in the square box.
You know anybody?
No, but again, the guys who are developing apps and developing SaaS tools, please make sure that you do what's called penetration testing before and have vulnerability scanning on an ongoing basis, whether it be quarterly or annually. Some companies do it annually, but nowadays that's just a snapshot in time. The moment you scan or you complete that test, that software could be outdated and become vulnerable as well. And implement and champion good security postures with these standards, cybersecurity essentials, and ISO 27000, which is the bedrock of cybersecurity and information security globally. And help your staff and employees, colleagues, be mindful and be aware. There are lots of training on YouTube that you can use and download just to get the foundations and the basics around cybersecurity. But please don't ignore it. This is one of the things that kind of runs through all different sectors, no matter which sector you are. And AI is becoming that continuous thread through that as well. So that's it, that's me, and thank you. Big bonus here, for you guys to have some basic stuff in place in terms of policies and procedures as well. By the way, Sharon should be sharing this with you guys, so you can see that as well. That's me.
Great. Vincent, thanks very much.
Thank you.
What we'll do now, thank you, Clinton. Really interesting and worrying at the same time, but it's all solvable if we just take it seriously, isn't it? It's the message.
Yes.
I think, given that the speakers are all so different, what we'll do, rather than having a panel, is we'll do 3 or 4 minutes questions each to each person, because I think we can focus on that rather than jumping around. So I think let's first take questions for Clinton, if that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah, so please just, Clinton, just take questions from the room and I'll tell you when to line up.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to focus on the last slide and the point that says about the penetration testing.
Yes.
Is that usually around third party? So are they trying to like sort of package just to see if it's...
Is it around third party?
Is it a third party that will do the penetration to see if the system's
It's
vulnerable?
advisable, yes. If you have a tool or you are capable of using any free tools, you can do it yourself in-house. And just to be preemptive with that, yes. If, for example, you're going to tender with a big company and they're asking you for certain requirements as part of their procurement process, they would ideally want you to do that with an independent, get it done by an independent party, so that there's no conflict because you're marking your own homework and showing it to them. Yes. But there's some free tools out there that you can use, depends on how technical you are, but nowadays with AI, you can also use some of the AI tools that are out there. So Nmap is a very technical one, Tenable, Qualys, which is Qualys car, and Tenable. So there are some tools out there that you can use, but there's a lot of tools out there. But again, people make these tools free, but you need to really read and do your research around them as well, because some of those same tools, they're identifying the holes and they probably share the data somewhere else, and they use those findings to come back and attack you as well. Any other questions? Yes?
What's MFA?
What's what, sorry?
MFA?
MFA, sorry. Multi-factor authentication. So if you've ever been prompted on your bank account logging in, it's something you know, something you are, and something you have. So you know your username and password, you have your password, and it's something you know. It could be a secret question or something else about your feature about you. So it's multi-factor, so it could be two-factor, which is you get an email with a PIN after you log in first, and then the other layer could be something else that you join two words together to complete the login process. But it's an access to resource security.
So passkeys are supposed to be like super secure and stuff like that. Like, have you found that there's any issue with those, or is that now the holy grail of password security?
It's becoming the holy grail, and I'll touch on something following on that. But yes, passkeys are really good and strong as well, and they're becoming more and more of a recommendation for both corporate and the security space as well. But I know that some of them have been hacked, and I think I have something on this slide somewhere about password managers and something else, 1Pass. But again, tell me a company that's never been hacked. Even them has been hacked. 1Password has been hacked. A lot of the password managers, people always ask me, what's the best password manager to use? Because I have 10 different passwords written down or in my notes, and I have to be flipping through. How do I manage them? You can do your assessment, because a lot of these companies have been hacked as well. They've gone past the breach, but you make that judgment in terms of how you want to manage your security and sharing your passwords. Any other questions?
Yeah.
You mentioned about security posture. You mentioned Cyber Essentials and
ISO 27001. So
yes. Are there some that are more credible in the eyes of certain industries like government, NHS? Are there some that give you a better sense of security that you communicate to organizations if you have that versus another type?
So this is a bit of a tricky one, because certain industries have their own standards and certain security frameworks. This ISO is more global. It is kind of initiated and in partnership and developed by British Standard Institute, and it's adopted globally. So that one, almost everybody in the industry knows about that one. And if you have that and going for tender with government, they'll accept that. The government have their own framework depending on the sectors within the government system that you're working, but the government is also pushing and have been pushing for cyber essentials as a bare minimum, so it opens up the door for smaller companies to get in to work with them. So cyber essentials plus CAF, and there's a whole bunch of other frameworks depending on if you're working with NHS, if you're working with the military, Ministry of Justice, etc. So I wouldn't recommend one over the other, but I'd say have something as a baseline, and I would recommend as a small business start with cyber essential because it gives you and conditioning you towards stepping up and gradually improving to get to ISO 27000, for example.
Fantastic. Thank you, Clinton. Paul, back up. So questions, if you remember, Paul.